All right, everybody, man, how y'all doing today? Welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk. This is the show where we cover the SWAC inside and out. Of course, I am your tour guide around the SWAC. C. Wells coming at you, and we're gonna put all the drama and everything on the side, man. We're just gonna talk a little bit of basketball today, man. We're gonna, come at y'all with the rest of that stuff that's going on a little bit later. Got a project that I'm working on to drop, man. Something that I think y'all might enjoy. So that'll be coming your way soon. But other than that, man, go ahead and check out those socials. Facebook is SWAC Talk, Instagram SWAC Talk, Twitter SWAC Talk 76. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Man, we're making our way through the 800s. We're marching on the way to 900 and then on to that big 1K. So, man, we're going to just go ahead and keep on doing what we do. I thank everybody who's subscribed already. If you haven't, man, go ahead and hit that subscription button. Hit that notification bell too. Feel free to comment and like the video, man. Most definitely like the video. Keep us bumping up the ladder. So, man, let's go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and jump on into this, man. We're gonna start off with our women's players of the week for these Saturday and Monday games. The SWAC recognizes Texas Southern's Adriana Avent and Alabama State's Ayana Emanuel for their performances this week. Avent was the player of the week. She averaged 27 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 assists, and 1.5 blocks per game. She shot 13 of 14 from the line this weekend. She shot 47% from the three-point line, 9 of 19, and she scored 23 points at Alabama A&M and 31 at Alabama State. Emmanuel scored a combined 43 points in 2 games this weekend, averaging 21.5 points per game. She had a 23-point game during Alabama State's win over Prairie View on Saturday, and she followed that up with a 20-point performance during the Hornets' victory over Texas Southern on Monday. She averaged 7 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists, 2 steals, while she played 31.9 minutes per game over the past 2 games. So I want to say congratulations to those 2 young women for their performances, and look forward to some great performances this upcoming weekend. So let's go ahead and take a look at the scores for for Monday's games. Excuse me. Jackson State beat FAMU 72-51. Alcorn beat Bethune Cookman 58-49. Pine Bluff beat Grambling 64-57. Alabama State beat Texas Southern 81-73. And Southern beat Valley by a score of 74-43. And that leads us to our feature game of the day, and that was Alabama A&M and Prairie View. The Bulldogs took a 66-55 decision over the Panthers. This was a tight game in the first half. The halftime score was 31-29 in the favor of Alabama A&M. They had a big third quarter, outscoring Prairie View by 7, 23-16. And then they outscored the Panthers by 2 in the fourth quarter to ultimately win by 11. Prairie View was led in scoring by Kennedy Paul. She had 15 points on the night. She was 7 of 16 from the field, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. She had 3 rebounds on the night. Diana Rosenthal chipped in 12 points on 4 of 11 shooting, 3 of 7 from 3, 1 of 2 from the line. She had 1 rebound, 1 assist. She was 3 of 7 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 7 of 8 from the line. She had 4 rebounds on the night, 1 assist, and 1 block and 1 steal. Smith and Trinity Hudson, as well as Tamirica Taylor, they all led the Lady Panthers with 4 rebounds apiece. Prairie View totaled 25 rebounds on the night. They committed 20 fouls. They had 9 assists. They only turned the ball over. They had 9 turnovers, 9 turnovers and 9 assists. They had 4 blocks and 10 steals on the night. They shot 33% from the field, 25% from 3, and 81% from the three-point line. From the free throw line. Alabama A&M was led in scoring by Amani Free with 23 points on the night. She was 9 of 13 from the field, 4 of 7 from three-point line, and 1 of 1 from the free throw line. She had 4 rebounds on the night. Tony Grace chipped in 22 points, shooting 6 of 14 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, and 9 of 10 from the free throw line. She had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Darian Bergen scored 13 points and 8 rebounds on the night, 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from the three-point line, 3 of 5 from the free throw line. She had 8 rebounds on the night to lead the team in that category, along with 2 assists and 2 steals. The Bulldogs had 39 rebounds, so they out-rebounded Prairie View by 14. They committed 16 fouls. They had 8 assists. They turned the ball over 19 times, had 2 blocks and 5 steals. They shot 42% from the field, 43% from the three-point line, and 81% from the free throw line. So a pretty solid night for Alabama A&M. They did a good job of slowing Prairie View down, keeping them under control. Like I said, I feel like Alabama A&M defensively, if they were able to control this game, they would win, and that is what they did. They basically kept pace of the Panthers and were able to hold them off for the bulk of the game. Looking at the standings for where we are heading into Saturday's games, Jackson State is 6-1, 9-8 overall. Alabama A&M is 6-1, 8-9 overall. Southern is 5-2, 8-10 overall. Alabama State is 5-2, 8-10 overall. Prairie View is 8-11 overall with a 5-3 SWAC record. Bethune Cookman 4-3 with a 5-12 SWAC overall record. Grambling 4-3, 5-13 overall. Pine Bluff 4-4, 6-12 overall. Alcorn 3-4, 7-11 overall. Florida A&M is 1-6, 3-15 overall. Texas Southern is 1-7 with a 1-18 overall record, and Valley is 0-8 with a 2-17 overall record. Right now, it's still pretty tight. It's the herd is starting to thin out a little bit, but there's still quite a few ties in this mix. Right now, you have honestly 9 teams fighting for a shot to make 8 spots. The 3 Valley most definitely is probably out already with 8 losses. Texas Southern and Florida A&M are already teetering on the brink of missing out on that spot. So we're starting to kind of figure out who's gonna make it. It's still some time to go, but we are definitely in the mix. So let's look at what this upcoming Saturday's games will be. Starting with Jackson State heading to Grambling. That's a 12:30 tip-off. That's also the HBCU Gold game of the week, so you make sure you check that out. Alabama A&M is at Florida A&M. That's a 1 p.m. tip-off. That game could be seen on the FAMU Facebook page. Alabama State is at Bethune Cookman, 1 o'clock tip. Cat Eye Network on YouTube. You can catch that game there. Alcorn is at Southern, 3 o'clock tip. I believe that game is on the Jaguar Sports Network, but they're not showing it on here, but I'll definitely put that information out there. Prairie View is at Texas Southern, 3 o'clock tip. Valley is at Pine Bluff, and that's a 4 o'clock tip. And that leads us to our feature game, which is Alabama State at Bethune Cookman. Definitely going to be an interesting game here. Bethune Cookman dropped 2 games on their Mississippi swing, so they're kind of reeling a little bit, but they still are playing some pretty decent basketball. Alabama State comes off of a couple big victories this week, so they're looking sharp. They're playing well, and we'll see how they do. But right now, let's look at what Bethune Cookman is bringing to the table. And I'm just gonna say from the jump that all these numbers that I'm using are conference only stats. By this point, we have a pretty good amount of games played in conference. So that gives us a better look at what these teams are heading into these games. So right now, Bethune Cookman is seventh in the league in scoring. They average 64 points per game. They give up 59, which is fourth in the league, and they are third in scoring margin at 5.1 point per game difference. The Wildcats shoot 40% from the field, which is fifth in the league. Their opponents shoot 38%, which is also fifth in the league. So they play pretty solid defense. This team has come a long way from where they were last season. They're playing better ball. They also are second in the league in team 3-point percentage. They shoot 35% from the field in conference play. Their opponents shoot 27% from the field, which is third. So they shoot the three well, and they're defending the three pretty well in conference play. Free throws, they are eighth, shooting 63%. The opponents shoot 62%, which is ninth. Rebounding, they are ninth in the league, averaging 34.6 rebounds per game. The opponents average 35.7 rebounds per game, which is fifth. That gives them a rebound margin of minus 1.1, which is seventh in the league. So they in conference play, they're getting out rebounded about one rebound per game. So they're holding their own on the boards. They're not getting dominated on the boards, which is always a good thing, and that will keep you in games. Turnovers, they average 17.6 turnovers per game. They force 19.7, which gives them a margin of 2.14. So they turn over the opponents more than they do, even though they do commit a high number of turnovers. But they do a pretty good job of forcing the opponents to turn the ball over as well. So that kind of evens it out for them. Block shots, right now they are 11th in the league in block shots at 1.5 per game, and they are last in the league in assists, averaging 8.8 assists per game, and they're second in the league in steals. They average 10.5 steals per game. So they get their hands on the ball quite often, and they can definitely cause you some problems if you're not careful with the ball, as evident by those 19 turnovers that they force, almost 20, because I think it's like 19.7. So they do a really good job of forcing turnovers and capitalizing off of that. Looking at the team right now, they're led in scoring in conference play by Chanel Wilson. She's averaging 19.6 points per game, followed by Deshante Edwards at 10.3, Kayla Clark at 8.4, Kayla White at 7.7, Morgan Beecham at 6.7. From the field, White shoots 51%, Wilson shoots 45%, Beecham 43%, Clark 43%, Edwards 42%. Three-point shooting, White is at 54%, Beecham 40%, Wilson is at 38%. She's their top three-point shooter. She's taken 57 threes and made 22. So she's taken and made the bulk of the threes that this team shoots. Free throws, Beecham shoots 81% from the line, followed by Dorsey at 75, Dunn at 75, Jordan at 71, 66 for Woods, 65 for Clark. The leading rebounder is Kayla Clark at 9.1 rebounds per game, Edwards at 4.9, Wilson 4.4. Assists, Wilson leads the team with 15 assists, followed by Kayla White with 12, and Deshante Edwards with 11. Steals, they're led by Edwards with 27, and blocks, they're led by Clark with 5. They play a pretty, they don't have a deep roster. They play pretty much they have a look like a 7 or 8 person rotation. Yeah, they're basically a 7 or 8 person rotation. The starters do get heavy minutes, 35 minutes per game in conference play for Wilson. Clark is at 31.9, and Edwards is at 30.3. They've had the same starting lineup in all 5 games, so you pretty much know what you're going to get. Their top bench player is Kayla White. She averages 22 minutes per game. Nia Jordan averages 19.7 as a starter, but White gets a lot of those minutes. Beecham is the only other player that averages double-digit minutes at 13.7. So this team is capable of putting points on the board, and they play pretty solid defense. They rebound pretty well. They do everything kind of as well as you can expect. But they have come up short in the last couple games. Obviously, one of those games was against Jackson State. The Alcorn game was a bit of a surprise to me, but it was a road game, and things happen on the road in conference play. But they are going up against the Alabama State team right now that's second in the league in scoring. They average 70.4 points per game. They give up 73 points per game, which is 10th in the league. So they get up and down the floor. They give up points. They score points. So Bethune Cookman with that 64-point average, they have a chance if they can knock down some shots. With their defense, if they can slow them down a little bit, this could make this game interesting. Alabama State shoots 42% from the field, which is second in the league. Defensively, they are last in the league. Opponents shoot 46%, and that plays kind of into what Bethune Cookman makes 40% of their shots, so that's they have a good chance of making some shots. 3-point shooting, that the Hornets are third at 31%, right behind Bethune Cookman. The opponents for Alabama State, they shoot 39%, which is last in the league. So defensively, this team has struggled getting teams to miss shots, and that's hurt them in some games. But they're able to score points, scoring with an average of 70. They're able to score points. So their offense is really solid. Their defense is subpar at times. But with that offense, if they're able to get hot, they're more than capable of winning games. Free throw shooting, Alabama State is third at 71%. The opponents shoot 70%, which is also third. Rebounding, the Hornets average 32 rebounds per game, which is 11th in the league. Their opponents average 32.6 rebounds, which is second in the league. That's the second fewest. So they're pretty even on the boards in their games. They only get rebounded by less than 1 rebound per game. So they hold their own on the boards. Turnovers, they average 16.4 turnovers. They force 17.7. Again, they turn the ball over less than their opponents. Both teams do a pretty decent job of forcing turnovers. Bethune Cookman averages like 1 turnover more. So they are, again, kind of even now. But Bethune Cookman, if they're not careful, those turnovers can help Alabama State get the stops that they need because they don't play really good defense against the shot. So they're going to have to force some turnovers and get that tempo up, and that will help them a lot in this game. The Hornets average 3.4 blocks per game, so that could be a good presence for them to take care of business inside against Bethune Cookman. If they happen to drive, that could be an equalizer. They have to find some kind of way to get that defense improved. Assists, they average 11.4 assists per game, which is 7th in the league, and they are 9th in the league in steals at 7.4 steals per game. Looking at the individual players right now, they're led in conference play by Ayana Emanuel at 16.6 points per game. Shemaya Ward, she also averages 16.6 points per game. Jayla Crawford is at 15.3. Cordesia Harris is at 10.9. And then after that, they don't have anybody averaging more than 4 points per game. So they have a big forward that's going to score, and you have to kind of keep those players from making shots. Although those players are very capable of knocking down shots, they can hurt you, and that's the one thing. If they can score, this game is going to be in the Hornets' favor. Field goal shooting right now, Harris shoots 58%, Ward 55, Crawford 49, Bolton 42, 36 for Steele, Sanders at 35, three-point shooting. Crawford shoots 38% from the three-point line. Watkins 37, Steele 33, Emmanuel 30. Free throw shooting, Crawford is at 85%, 88%, Emmanuel 81%, 75% for Jackson, and Harris at 69. Rebounding, Harris at 6 rebounds per game, followed by Emmanuel at 5.4, Ward at 5.4. Assists, Crawford at 20. Turnovers, Emmanuel 25 steals, Emmanuel and Sanders with 11 apiece, and 8 blocks for Ward, followed by Harris with 7. Again, they play their starters. They have a couple starters that average over 30 minutes a game. Crawford and Emmanuel, they both go over 30 minutes a game. Ward is at 28, Steele at 26, Harris at 24. Sanders, she has 2 starts on the season. On the season conference play, she averages 24 minutes. And Tillis is at 10 minutes per game off the bench. So those are pretty much the players that get the bulk of the playing time. Watkins is she plays some at about 8 minutes per game. So you already basically know by looking at the numbers who you need to stop if you Bethune Cookman. If any of those players get hot, then you're gonna find yourself in a world of hurt, and that's something that can really go left for this team if their defense can't get the stops they need. Then this can be a very interesting game for Alabama State. This is a nice offense-defense matchup. I always say defense, travels and defense usually wins. But when you have a team that has, 4 people that are capable of taking the lead and scoring, that can sometimes overwhelm a defense. And in this time, I like Alabama State. I think, they're going to continue to play well and keep themselves on track. So I think they pick up the victory. It's going to be a tough game playing on the road, but if you're a team that's considered to be a team that's fighting for the top spot or the top half of the league, you have to win road games. And I think Alabama State will find a way to pull this one out. So that takes us to our men's side. We're going to start with the men's weekly honors for this past weekend. And the SWAC recognizes Arkansas Pine Bluff Sean Doss and Texas Southern's Devon Barnes as their players of the week. The player of the week is Doss. He had 2 games scoring 20 points or more in this past weekend, averaging 26.5 points per game. Over the weekend, he scored a season high 30 to go along with 6 rebounds, 1 block, and 1 assist against Grambling. And he helped Pine Bluff go on a 5-game win streak before they lost to Grambling. But he still had 2 very good games this weekend. The impact player of the week is Barnes from Texas Southern. He averaged 16 points per game to go along with 4 rebounds this past week. He shot 12 of 15 from the line as Texas Southern won both games on their road trip, and they won their 3rd straight game. So they are starting to heat up, and Barnes was a big reason for that. Two big wins on the road in Alabama, and 1 win at home gives them 3 straight, and that definitely helps them with some momentum. So salute to those young men for getting the SWAC honors. And again, we look forward to seeing what the SWAC has in store for us this upcoming weekend. Now we take a look at the scores from Monday's games. Jackson State with another close game. This is, I think, like the 3rd close game. I'm talking like 1 point, 2 point, 1 point games. This time it beat FAMU 59-58. Alcorn beat Bethune Cookman 76-68. Texas Southern beat Alabama State 71-65. Southern beat Valley 84-70. And Alabama A&M beat Prairie View by a score of 67-59. And our featured game of Monday was Grambling picking up the victory over Pine Bluff by a score of 77-70. And this game, Grambling basically controlled the first half. They went into the half with a 7-point lead, 34-27. And in the second half, both teams basically played a stalemate, 43 points each in the second half, giving Grambling a 7-point win. Grambling did build up a lead, a double-digit lead at one time, but Pine Bluff was able to chip away at it, but never could get over the hump. And they ultimately would end up falling short in this game. Grambling was led by Jordan Smith with 24 points on the night. He was 8 of 11 from the field, 1 of 1 from the line, from 3-point line, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. He had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. Cameron Christian with 16 points, 4 of 7 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3, 6 of 7 from the free throw line. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, and 1 steal. Shondarius Coward, excuse me, was the other player in double digits with 15 points. He had 6 of 9 shooting from the field, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. He had 2 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals on the night. So really, really a good defensive effort by him. Jonathan Aku led the team with 6 rebounds on the night. Grambling finished with 28 rebounds, 18 fouls, 19 assists, 19 turnovers, 3 blocks, and 11 steals. They shot 54% from the field, including 63% in the second half. So they were really hot in the second half. 55% from 3. They were 66% from 3 in the first half, cooled off in the second. And then they were 20 of 22 from the free throw line. So really good free throw shooting night for them. 90%. They missed the only 2 free throws they missed were in the second half. So really, really good effort for Grambling. Sean Doss led Pine Bluff with 30 points. He was 9 of 20 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, 11 of 13 from the line. Definitely took advantage of his trips to the line. He had 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block on the night. Kylan Milton had 14 points, 4 of 10 shooting, 1 of 5 from 3, 5 of 5 from the line. He had 2 rebounds, 4 assists on the night, 1 block. He also had 5 steals, so really good defensive effort for him. And Trajan Ware was the other double-digit scorer with 11. He was 4 of 8 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, and he did not attempt a free throw. He had 2 rebounds, 6 assists. He did ultimately turn the ball over 7 times, so that definitely is something that kind of cost them in this game. And he finished also with 2 steals on the night. Pine Bluff will finish with 27 rebounds, 19 fouls, 14 assists, 15 turnovers, 2 blocks, and 9 steals. They shot 38% from the field, 32% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. So both teams really, really good free throw shooting. That's something that I like to see. Love to see teams knock down those free throws, especially when you get so many trips to the line in the SWAC. You really should knock down a lot of those shots. Looking at the standings coming out of Monday's games, Southern is 6-1, 10-10 overall. Alcorn is 6-1, 9-10 overall. Grambling 5-2, 12-7 overall. Jackson State 5-2, 6-14 overall. Pine Bluff is 5-3, 9-12 overall. Alabama State 4-3, 6-14 overall. Alabama A&M 3-4, 7-13 overall. Prairie View 3-5, 7-14 overall. Texas Southern creeping up at 3-5. They're 7-14 overall. Bethune Cookman 2-5, 6-14 overall, and FAMU is 1-6 with a 3-15 overall record. Again, there's a big log jam. There's a tie for first. There's a tie basically for third. Pine Bluff is right behind them. Alabama State is a half game behind Pine Bluff. Alabama A&M is right behind that. Prairie View and Texas Southern are basically a half a game out of the first place spot. Bethune Cookman is still in the mix. FAMU is even still in the mix at 1-6. They need to start to picking up some wins, but they're not that far out of the race for the 8th spot. Also Valley, I forgot Valley. They're 1-7, 2-20 overall. So it's still room for everybody to kind of make that 8th spot. Right now, Prairie View would get that 8th spot at 3-5. So there's only a two-game difference between 8th place and last place. So, I mean, it takes some work, but you can make up some ground if you can pick up some wins. But it basically has to start now, with the with the season starting to hit the halfway point, pretty much. Looking at this week's schedule, Saturday's games, Alabama State is at Bethune Cookman. That's a 3 o'clock tip-off. Jackson State is at Grambling, 3 o'clock tip. That's HBCU goal game of the week. Alabama A&M is at FAMU, 3 o'clock tip. Prairie View is at Texas Southern. That's a 5 o'clock tip. And Alcorn is at Southern. That's a 5:30 tip. And Valley is at Pine Bluff with a 6 o'clock tip. So really, there's a lot of wiggle room to be made, man. There's some big games this weekend, including the game that we're gonna have as our feature game of the week, at least of Saturday, and that's Alcorn and Southern. This is a first place battle. Both teams come in at 6-1. Both teams are playing, solid ball. They both, dropped. Alcorn dropped the early game. Southern dropped the game on Saturday. So kind of different approaches into this game, but this should be a pretty interesting game. We'll start with Alcorn. The Braves right now, they are averaging 66 points per game. They're 7th in the league. They allow 72, which is 5th in the league. So they let's jump to the conference stats. That gives us a better idea. Alcorn is 2nd in the league in conference play, averaging 76 points per game. So you can see the big difference between looking at the conference numbers and looking at the overall numbers. Alcorn is at 76.6 points per game, which is 2nd. Defensively, they are allowing 68 points per game, which is 7th. That gives them a margin of 8.6, which is 2nd in the league. Field goal shooting, Alcorn right now, they are 5th at 43%. The opponents, they shoot 42%, which is 10th. 3-point shooting, Alcorn shoots 34% from 3, which is 4th place in the league. The opponents shoot 27%, which is 3rd. So they definitely do a really good job of defending the 3. And they do a pretty good job of knocking down 3s as well. Defensively, as far as shooting goes, they're pretty solid. They do give up some inside points, but they make up for that with their perimeter defense. Free throws, Alcorn is 2nd in the league at 79%, and the opponents shoot 67%. Rebounding, Alcorn is 5th in the league at 35.6 rebounds per game. The opponents average 30, so they out-rebound their opponents by 5.6 rebounds per game, which leads the league. So they definitely are a really good rebounding team, and they do a good job of keeping the opponents off the board. So, if you get misses, it's going to be tough for you to get those offensive rebounds. They also do a good job of, getting offensive rebounds of their own. So they definitely can control the boards in any game. Turnovers, right now, Alcorn averages 12.7 turnovers per game. They force 15.1. So really good job of not really turning the ball over. They have 12.7 is the fewest turnovers in the league. So they don't turn the ball over very often. So you definitely it's gonna be tough to turn them over if that's your game plan. They take care of the ball fairly well. Looking at block shots, right now they are last in the league. They block 2.1 shots per game. They are 6th in the league in assists at 11.1, and they are 8th in the league in steals at 7.2. So they are pretty decent defensively as far as forcing turnovers, but they rebound really well, and they are scoring the ball really well in conference play. So they're fine. This team is finding their stride, and they're definitely a dangerous team, and they're proving right now why they are sitting in a tie for the league lead right now. Scoring wise, they have 3 double-digit scores. Bruton at 13.8 points per game. Montgomery at 10.8. Joshua at 10.3. Kendall at 8.9 is not far behind them, and Thomas at 8.2. Those are basically those overall numbers. Again, looking at the conference numbers, 16 points per game for Bruton, 16.9, 15.3 for Montgomery. Kendall is at 11.9, Joshua at 10.7, McQuarter 8.7, 8.3 for Thorne. So they have 4 guys scoring in double digits right now, and 2 other guys who are really close to double digits. And other than that, everybody else averages less than 2.5 points per game. So you see the guys who are gonna be their guys to score the points, and they're definitely good at it. The shooting, Bruton shoots 54%, followed by McQuarter at 53, Kendall at 53, Joshua at 37. 3-point shooting, Montgomery shoots 39%, followed by 38% for Bruton, Joshua at 36%, 30%, 33% for Wade, 30% for Thorne. Free throw shooting, Montgomery at 93%, 92 for Thorne, Bruton 90, 85 for Marshall, 70 for McQuarter. So again, free throws, this team is a very good free throw shooting team. So if you get to a situation where you have to put them on the line, they're gonna take advantage of it more often than not. The leading rebounder is Kendall at 8.9 rebounds per game, followed by McQuarter at 6.1, Montgomery 4.8, Joshua 3.7. Bruton 3.1 assists. Joshua 33, 18 for Bruton. Turnovers, Bruton at 19, 18 for Joshua. Steals, 11 for Joshua, 10 for Kendall. And blocks, Marshall leads the team with 4 blocks. And again, this team, they have quite a few guys that have played double-digit minutes in conference play, but they're big guys. Are their starters. They register pretty big minutes. Bruton is averaging 26 minutes with no starts, and he's scoring a lot of points in conference play. So he's a guy who you're definitely going to have to slow down if you want to give yourself a chance in this game. Looking at Southern right now, Southern averages 78 points per game, which leads the league. And they allow 69 points per game, which is 8th in the league. So Southern definitely wants to get up and down the floor. They play it at a pretty high tempo. They're gonna shoot threes a lot, and if they have opportunities to drive, they're gonna take them. They lead the league in scoring margin at 9.3 points per game difference. They are 3rd in the league in field goal shooting at 45%. Defensively, their opponents shoot 42%. So, because Southern doesn't necessarily have great size inside, you can have success driving to the basket. That's where your strength is, you can definitely do a pretty good job with that. Southern, like I said, they shoot 39% from 3, which leads the league. The opponents shoot 30%, which is 6th in the league. So they can defend the 3 pretty well. Like I said, their weakness is more inside. Although those guys on the interior are getting a little bit better game by game, but they still don't necessarily have the depth with big guys inside. So if you can get in there, you got a chance to score because they don't necessarily have rim protectors that can consistently block shots. Southern is 3rd in free throw shooting at 75%. So this is a matchup of 2 teams that make a lot of free throws. So if you have to put either one of these teams on the free throw line, you're more often than not gonna regret doing that. Southern opponents, they shoot 68% from the line, which is 9th in the league. Rebounding, Southern is 7th in the league at 33.6 rebounds per game. Their opponents average 33.4. So in conference play, Southern is actually out rebounding their opponents by 0.1 rebounds per game. I mean, that's the slimmest of slimmest margins, but they have been doing a pretty good job in conference play of getting rebounds. They don't really get many offensive boards, though. They average 8. So Alcorn, with the rebounding team that they have, they're definitely going to have their opportunities to get those rebounds and get their offense going. Southern averages 14 turnovers per game. They force 17.1. So they do a good job of forcing opponents to turn the ball over. They don't really turn the ball over a lot, but they can have moments where they get into lapses and make some ill-advised passes, or just sometimes they get into fits of sloppy play, and that can hurt you against a team like Alcorn because Alcorn doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So if you make mistakes, Alcorn can capitalize on them, and you find yourself in a tough situation. Block shots, Southern is not 10th in the league. They block 2.5 shots per game. So neither one of these teams block a lot of shots. So if you can get inside, you got a good chance of getting points or getting to the line. Southern leads the league in assists at 15.8. They share the ball very well. They will pass the ball around the perimeter. They use a lot of cuts and screens to get the ball moving. So if you can force Southern to not move the ball a lot and get them into one-shot situations, you got a chance. But if you allow Southern to swing the ball around and find that open shooter outside, they more often than not would knock that shot down. And Southern is second in the league in steals at 8.5 steals per game. So they get their hands on the ball quite often, and they will force turnovers. And if they can get up and down on the floor, then you can find yourself at a disadvantage. Looking at their scores right now, Breon Whitley leads the team with 15 points per game. Tyrone Lyons is at 12.7. Terrell Williams is at 9.3. PJ Bird is at 9.2. Bryson Etienne at 8.3. Followed by Isaiah Rollins at 6.7. Field goal shooting, Wilkins is at 61%. Ndamaya is at 60%. Rollins at 52. Williams at 51. Bird at 48. Reynolds at 46. Lyons at 45. Whitley at 43. Etienne at 42. Three-point shooting, Rollins is at 52%. 50% for Bird. 50% for Woods, 44% for Williams, 42% for Lyons. Etienne is at 41%, 36% for Whitley. So pretty much everybody that they put on the floor, other than a couple of their bigs, are going to shoot threes and make quite a bit of them. So the guys that are on the perimeter, you can't leave anybody open out there because they will knock down shots from the outside. Free throw shooting. Right now, Whitley is at 86%, Bird at 80%, Williams at 77%, Ndamaya at 77%, 75% for Lyons, 72% for Etienne. Rebounding, Lyons leads the team with six rebounds per game, Williams 5, Whitley 3.9, Ndamaya 3.9, Etienne 3.3, Reynolds 3.3. And this team plays a lot of guys. So pretty much they're going to throw a lot of bodies on the floor. They play, they have 11 guys that have played at least 6 games in conference play out of the 7. They have pretty much the same starting unit, but they play a lot of guys, so they're definitely going to throw a lot of bodies at you. But you're going to see, basically you'll see Bird getting 28 minutes a game, Lyons at 27. This season, Lyons has been coming off the bench, actually, so that's a guy who started last season, but he's coming off the bench, and he is able to give a team a spark. Whitley is at 27%, Williams at 25%, Etienne at 24%. And then you have a lot of guys that average between 15 and 9 minutes per game. So they will play a lot of guys game in and game out. So really foul trouble has not really been a problem for Southern. Now, if anywhere, it can be an issue on the interior, but they haven't really ran into that issue too much this season. Bird leads the team with 40 assists. He averages 6.7 assists per game, followed by Whitley with 14 turnovers on the season, Bird at 12. Steals, Bird at 9, Lyons at 8, Whitley and Etienne at 7. Blocks, Reynolds has 5 to lead the team. So again, these two teams, they both can fill it up. I think Alcorn is the better rebounding team. Southern shoots the three a little bit better. Both teams are pretty solid from the free throw line. So this is a good matchup. This is a legit 1-1 matchup. I can't say they 1-2 right now. Both teams are playing fairly well. Southern had a hiccup on the road, but they bounced back against Valley. Alcorn has not lost since they beat Jackson State, since they lost to Jackson State to open the season. So they're hot. This should be a very interesting game, man. This is two teams that they only play once. So, the impetus to win this game is high, because if you lose this game, you may not get another shot at this team, because who knows what happens in the tournament. So, this game can go a long way in helping with the regular season championship. Obviously, this will be the 8th game of the season. So there's still 10 games left, but this game can definitely help you in a tiebreaker situation, especially with only the one game between the two. It's tough to pick, man, in this game, because I think either team can win this game. I don't know really which way to go, man. I think Southern is a team that's very capable of filling it up, and if they get hot and they get a lead, they can pull away in this game. But Southern does have those moments of lapse, and Alcorn's a steady team. They're gonna chip away, and they're not really gonna go anywhere. So I'm gonna go with the Braves, actually, man, on the road. I think they're going to steal one. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Alcorn defensively should be able to give Southern some problems, and especially on the boards. I think that's the edge that I give to Alcorn, because I think they'll rebound a little bit better, and if they control the boards, I think they'll win this game. But this will be a great game, and I expect both teams to come out and play really well. So, season obviously not over for whoever doesn't win this game, but you only had a one chance at this team, so that's very important in this game. So that's gonna do it for today's show, man. I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in and kicking it with me today. We do this, on Wednesdays and Sundays, recapping basketball, man. Like I said, we got a special coming at you, man. I'm working on a couple things. We're gonna drop a couple different videos. Y'all can hit that subscription button that's popping up on there. Make sure y'all check out SWAC Smoke Thursday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Like the video, man. Make sure you hit that notification bell. And man, we're gonna catch y'all on the rebound, man. Y'all have a good day, and we'll holler at y'all. Peace.